Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Tittle Tattle Tarot. It's Georgie. And on the table helping me today, I have the Shadowland Tarot. And what I would like to turn my attention to is Emily Dickinson, American poet. Yes, so I want to look at a very specific point about her life. She was born in 1830 and she died in 1885. So she was only 55 when she died, but certainly the last at least 20 years of her life were spent in seclusion, very much sort of isolated from the outside world. She didn't really leave her home. And I want to know quite why she shut herself away. This woman with so much talent and so much to give to the world, just isolating herself away from the world. She left us with about 1,800 poems and about 1,000 letters. And yeah, these are all just things that I want to look at, but I want to really find out why. Why did this woman become so reclusive? So there was a lot of death surrounding her. I don't think her family, her mother and father, let's concentrate on them. The mother and father were not touchy-feely, cuddly people. I think that there was a lot of stuff going on there. Not that your parents had to be touchy-feely, cuddly people, but I think that there was a lot of angst between daughter, mother and father. I don't think that they were the supportive, loving, nurturing parents that maybe we would hope for. So let's just pull a card, first of all on mother and then on father. Mother and father. So interesting cards. For the mother, we've got the King of Swords. And for the father, we have the Six of Cups in reverse. So, neither of these are nurturing cards. The King of Swords for a mother is quite interesting energy. It's very hard energy for a woman. The fact that it's a male card for a start, but the fact that it's King of Swords. Swords are words, swords are thoughts. I would imagine this woman was not an emotional mother. Like I said, I sort of said, oh, she wasn't touchy-feely. Well, she definitely wasn't. She would have been very vocal about her thoughts, a sarcastic speaker, not a feminine mother, not a nurturing mother. King of Swords, very much, get on with it. Not speaking with great empathy and kindness. So that's the general feeling that I'm getting from this King of Swords as a mother. It's not a nurturing maternal card. And then we have for the father, Six of Cups in reverse. Well, your Six of Cups, this is very much your nostalgia card, your happy family. You remember back and you think about daddy and you think about, how great he was, what a great father he was. Well, no. We don't have that. Six of Cups in reverse is not having those happy memories, those happy childhood memories of childhood, the father that didn't inspire those warm, good feelings that, we would all hope that, somebody would have about their father in an ideal world. These weren't ideal parents for whatever their own particular upbringings were and what led them to be the way they were. So not the best of parents, not the best of starts there. And when she was a teenager, in her mid-teens, I think that there were quite a lot of deaths around her. So she would have been about 14, 15. Friends dying. I think there have been a lot of like consumption and that kind of illness around, but lots of deaths around her. So how did that affect, a teenager having close friends, even family, dying? How did it affect her? Five of Wands. This is a card of confrontation. I see this as inner confrontation, inner conflict. I think she was very conflicted over all of this, and it was it was a battle with herself. I see this as being. This is the battling card, but one's a passion, and your thoughts and your, not so much thoughts, but your passions within you. And I think that she was very very distraught over this. So let's just pull another one. This sort of inner turmoil, I would call that. Yeah, and it kind of slowed her right down, and it made her very, I would say, the Chariot in reverse. The Chariot the right way up, you could say that she was kind of not inspired by death, of course not, but the deaths would have like prompted her. Life is short, I've got to get on with my life, I've got to move on, and I've got to, the people that have died, I've got to respect them and honor them and go on and get my poetry out into the world and go off and live my life. You would say maybe that would be the kind of attitude with the Chariots, major arcana. But I think this is inner conflict, and it led to Chariot in reverse, full stop. It led to stop, close up, depression, not moving on, stuck in your life in a way. So this is all teenage years, stuck already, being a teenager. So let's have a look at this. In her 20s, she's already starting to withdraw a little bit. And there are these wonderful, passionate poems that she wrote. But, who were they to? Who were they to? Were they just, to a male lover that we don't know about? Were they just experimental writing? What was going on with these very, very passionate poems that she wrote? Well, I don't think that they were to male lovers. This is keeping something very close to you, which makes me think that they weren't sent. I see these as like the poems, holding them to your heart. She wrote these things down, but I don't think they were ever actually sent to anybody. I think that she kept them close to her. She wrote down her innermost passionate feelings, but she squirreled them away and kept them. Look how precious this is. This is usually, the greedy miser card, but as I'm going on with tarot, I seldom read it as that. I see this as, someone desperately holding on to something that's so important to them. And yes, sometimes it is money, but very often it's not. And I think this is like the poems that she wrote, and she kept them to her heart. She didn't want to part with them. I don't think that they were ever sent, and I don't actually believe that they were written to one particular person. But she did have somebody who she was very close to, and this was Susan Gilbert. She was a fellow poet, and she wrote her about 300 letters, and they only actually lived next door to each other. So it's quite bizarre in a way, that she was writing letters to somebody that lived next door. But I wonder, were they actually romantically involved? They were certainly very, very close, confidants, spent a lot of time together. The poems that she wrote were quite romantic, and we know that she did send those ones to Susan Gilbert, but were they actually romantically involved? There's a question. What would the cards say about that? Wheel of Fortune. I see this as a very very up and down relationship, and I don't mean fighting and quarreling or anything like that, but it was very wanted that closeness, wanted that relationship with this woman, and was frightened at the same time. This is like, that whole wheel going round of pulling someone in, being close, but pushing them away. This is society, isn't it, as well? A relationship between two women in the 1800s, well, no, it wouldn't have been acceptable at all. So I think this Wheel of Fortune is very much this wheel continuing to move. Sometimes she's on top of the wheel because, yes, she's so close to this woman. She's sending her letters, sharing things of her life. But then the wheel would turn, because it's not accepted, it's frowned upon. So I see this relationship as just keep moving, you know, never settled, but this woman always being this presence there in her life. That's the way I read that. Whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know, but that's the feeling that I get from these cards. So she's getting older, and you know, by her early 30s, she's all but withdrawn. She's living in her parents' house, very much almost secluded to her room. And if she sees someone, or she would sort of talk to people through the door, you know, that they'll come and they'll speak sort of through the door rather than face to face. Very, very strange, isn't it? Very isolated, living in her parents' home, communicating with people through a door. Yeah, look at this. 8 of Swords. She's made a prison. I mean, you can't get more of a prisoner card than the 8 of Swords. Look at that. Doesn't want to actually see anyone. She won't see people face to face. How incredible is this card? She won't see them. She's in her room of swords. She's made a prison for herself, this little room. So why? Why? So the cards have been very, very clear up to now, I think. I think they've been beautiful cards I've pulled. Sad, but I think they've probably been on the money so far. But let's have a look. Now, what was it? Why did she isolate herself? We just go through a few possibilities. Was it depression? Was it just, you know, depression? Depression, is that all it was? All, I don't mean all. Well, certainly sleepless nights. I think there was depression there, but also, I mean, it wasn't just morbid themes in her work, was it? You know, they were about love and nature, and she loved children. So I think that, yes, there was an element of depression, but I don't think that was her main thing. You know, it kept her awake. I don't think that she was a settled, content person. This isn't a card of being content, but I don't think that depression was the reason that she locked herself away in her 8 of Swords. But she certainly was not a jolly, you know, a happy-go-lucky jolly woman by any means. But no, it wasn't. I don't believe that it was that alone. So was she bipolar? Because I don't know. Let's just see what do the cards say about bipolar. 7 of Pentacles. I mean, she was always planning work. She was always writing. 7 of Pentacles is like the farmer tending his fields and growing the sunflowers and what have you. Well, the 7 of Pentacles for her was her writing. You know, she was always working on her poems and, you know, very steady. This is steady work. Well, bipolar is very much sort of, you know, going through highs and lows. And they wouldn't have had the medications that we have now. So I think it would have been much more evident that, you know, she would have highs, but we don't really see that, do we? We just see a very sort of flat line with her, locked away, working the pentacles. And I don't think she would have, I think it would have affected her work much more. You know, she'd had these great highs and great lows. I don't think that she was bipolar. That's just the feeling that I'm getting. So, well, you know, it's been said that she was epileptic. So maybe she locked herself away because, you know, of fits. And I remember to be an epileptic back then, it was, oh, I hate to say shameful, but it was totally misunderstood. So maybe she felt that, you know, if she was away in her room and she had a fit, that it wouldn't be observed, you know. Was that it? Was it because of epilepsy that she kind of locked herself away? Well, it's a possibility. 9 of Cups. Do you know, it is a possibility. The 9 of Cups the right way round. This this is very much your I've got it all card. I can have what I want. I sort of cease my own needs. I look after myself. If I want a glass of wine, I'll have three. You know, it's very sort of, I'm all right, Jack. I'm doing very well. But up the other way, it isn't that confidence. So maybe she would lock herself away because she didn't want other people to see her in a vulnerable situation. That, you know, these cups running out, this emotion coming out was, you know, of all of these so far, this epilepsy, it seems like it could be a thing. Let's just come back to that because there are other things that it could be. So we said that doubted that she was bipolar and doubted that it was purely depression, although I should imagine that, you know, she was pretty melancholic. So what about, she's just shy and sensitive. Maybe she was just, which they wouldn't have known then, on the autistic spectrum a little. Was she on the autistic spectrum? Queen of Cups. It's very emotional, the Queen of Cups. And I think that, like I said earlier, she loved children, she loved nature. This is a loving card. So autistic, possibly very over emotional, maybe overly emotional. But does that mean autistic? I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I don't think that she was. I think that she had too much care in her life for you know, for nature and for children and for her writing. I'm not sure about this autistic thing. Maybe so, but I don't get it from this card. This card doesn't lead me in that direction. This one, the epilepsy, that does kind of, that's got a ring of truth about it. Let's keep going. So let's look at, we're just coming to the end now, a few more ideas. Is it just mixed anxiety, just a lot of different anxieties that, you know, could be agoraphobia and, you know, just different anxieties, fear of open spaces, fear of germs, could be all kinds of mixed anxieties. Yeah, you see, the Six of Wands reversed. The Six of Wands the right way up. This is like sort of celebrating life, people celebrating you. You know, yes, going out into the world, getting your poetry out there, getting yourself out there. People saying, oh, you know, there's Emily, that's wonderful, there she is. But no, hiding away. Maybe this was, you know, something to do with deep anxieties, whatever they may be. And then, you know, finally, you know, she was blacking out. So this makes me think more about the epilepsy. She did have blackouts. So, I mean, nowadays, we actually know that people have mini strokes and they have things called TIAs, don't they? Trans-ischemic attacks. These mini strokes, but they can often cause you to pass out. So was it like mini strokes that she had? Was that it? Was that it? Well, Four of Wands, again, she's in her home. I'm going to take these cards here and I'm going to concentrate on these. She was in her home. She was in her safe place. So whatever was going on, this Four of Wands is your safe place. So this makes sense because this is where she wanted to be. When she closed her door or when she didn't leave her room, she was in her little spider's web, her content place. Fair enough, fair enough. But what happened in that room? She certainly was not going out and being celebrated as this wonderful poet and this vivacious woman. That was not her at all. There's a lot of emotion coming out. So let's just go one more round with this epilepsy. Was it? Maybe epilepsy. Something that would cause her to black out. Seven of Cups in reverse. These are lack of choices. I think, you know, I know that there'll be plenty of people say, oh, no, she wasn't epileptic, but I kind of see your Seven of Cups. This are all the choices that you can make in your life, how you live, where you live, what you choose to do daily. And we all have choices every day. But with the Seven of Cups in reverse, it's like she reduced her world to such a small area. She reduced her world just to her happy home, her happy place, her safe place, shall we say, rather than happy. So all the possibilities that could have been open to her just became one room, really. I don't know whether it was because of epilepsy or whether it was some other health issue, but that was her choice. She chose to be in this, this room, and she chose to, come away from all the different choices she had in her life. So let's just pull something from the center about Emily Dickinson. Whatever the cards can tell me from the center of the pack, just whatever you can tell me, cards, about Emily Dickinson. Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Ace of Wands upright. It's interesting. I think that this is what her world was, actually what it really was, and what it was in her mind, perhaps. And the two didn't equate. They didn't match. Ace of Pentacles, her actual world was not growing and blossoming. She never married. She never went on to create her own family, her own, not that you have to have a family, but her own roots. She very much lived in her parents' house. She never spread her wings. The Ace of Pentacles is planting your, well, I'd say your seed, but I don't mean children necessarily. I just mean planting your destiny and it growing, and it being fertile, and you growing your life and your life blossoming. Well, that never happened for her. Her life never blossomed. It shrank and withered, didn't it? It became this sort of very small area, probably a 12 by 12 room, or however big her bedroom was. It became very small and didn't flourish. But in her mind, Ace of Wands, all this passionate poetry, passionate letters that she kept very, very close to her. Passionate ideas, passionate about nature, passionate about children. But the two didn't mix, did they? It's what she actually had. But in her mind, she had this wonderful imagination and this wonderful fire. But as to why she locked herself away, I don't know, but it was her choice. She chose to do it. It was very much, a very sort of cognitive, this is what I'm going to do. And for some reason, I kind of feel that maybe she had some kind of fit. And this Cups card here, it stopped people witnessing it. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think it was something else? It's just what the cards tell me. I don't know very much about Emily Dickinson, and I'm sure there'll be some of you out there who've studied her and know her far more than I do. And I would love to hear what you think. Please message me, and just know that I'm just reading energy from cards. Anything you can add to this, I would be greatly interested in hearing. Anyway, thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.